Angel Reese, she comes out, she makes a statement, and of course yesterday the WNBA concluded, no, we couldn't find anything. No kidding. You don't say. Well, enter in today, because now a lot of people are asking the question, is the WNBA got the guts to fine and or suspend Angel?
But you said the media is using all of this controversy and off-court bickering and racism angle to promote the WNBA.
Did Angel Reese just cross a line the WNBA might never recover from? What started as a typical game turned into a national headline, and not in a good way. Because when Angel pointed fingers, the league jumped. But when the truth came out, the silence was deafening. Do you think Angel Reese crossed the line? Or is the WNBA protecting her? Drop your take in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more no-nonsense coverage.
With this,
there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA, our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process.
At the center of it all, a bold accusation, claims of racist fan behavior during an Indiana Fever game. Except, there was just one problem. There was zero evidence, not a video, not a mic'd-up comment, not a single credible witness. The WNBA did a full investigation and confirmed exactly what fans already knew. It never happened.
Same situation still exists. If Adam Silver or Kathy Engelbert, who's the WNBA commissioner, and the NBA, because they're basically financing, they could change this conversation and change who's on air and change what people are talking about. Snap of the finger.
But Reese didn't walk it back. She doubled down. She went on national TV, gave emotional interviews, and let the lie live. No retraction, no apology, just vague talk about being protected by God and how it could happen to anyone. That wasn't protection, it was projection. And fans saw right through it. The backlash was immediate. Caitlin Clark's supporters went nuclear. Sports personalities torched the league for enabling drama over facts. Some even compared Reese to Jussie Smollett, saying this wasn't just exaggeration, it was a hoax. They asked the one question the league doesn't want to answer: where's the accountability? And it didn't stop there. This wasn't Angel's first dance with controversy. Just last year, she claimed a fan shouted slurs at her teammates at a hotel. Again, no proof. Video footage debunked it instantly. But instead of owning it, she moved on like nothing happened. That's a pattern. One where the truth doesn't matter if the headlines favor you. Now fans are asking, is the WNBA protecting its stars at the cost of its integrity? Because while they preach equality and respect, they stayed dead silent when innocent Indiana fans got blasted online for something they never did. Where's the suspension? Where's the fine? Where's the basic accountability? But here's the kicker, the media played right into it. ESPN, First Take, and others ran with the story like it was gospel. No fact-checking, no skepticism, just emotional sound bites and dramatic overlays. Because outrage sells, and facts get buried.
The media, and think the media is leaning into this. I actually think the WNBA is leaning into this because they're saying, hey, male sports use racial conflict to elevate themselves. We should do the same thing.
And now, Angel's still being praised, while the fans she accused are left with nothing but hate in their mentions. The league wants to move on, but the fans won't forget. Because this wasn't just a false claim, it was a moment that revealed how broken the league's priorities really are. The damage is done, but the bigger question is, how much longer can the WNBA ignore it? If the accusation was fake, why is Angel Reese still protected like she did nothing wrong? That's the question echoing across sports talk shows, YouTube comments, and social media threads. Caitlin Clark fans aren't just upset, they're furious. And now they want more than just an investigation. They want consequences.
Hey, there's a plot to undermine the spirit and the emotion of the Indiana Fever. And they've done it with this whole racial argument, this whole Angel Reese deal, and the way the media, and the way they're demonizing Indiana Fever fans. And I saw a team.
This wasn't a small misunderstanding. It was a national embarrassment. Reese played along with a lie that painted innocent fans as racists, fans who showed up, paid their money, and did nothing wrong. Once the WNBA admitted there was no proof, people expected an apology. Instead, Reese acted like she was the victim. That move alone poured gasoline on the fire. Top sports voices called it out instantly. Clay Travis, Dave Portnoy, and others didn't hold back. They blasted Reese for fueling the drama and demanded the league stop coddling its stars. According to them, the WNBA didn't just mishandle this, it completely failed. And fans, they're starting to turn away. Many believe this is about fairness. Caitlin Clark has taken elbows, harsh fouls, and constant criticism without ever making herself the center of drama. Yet Reese? 2 false race hoaxes in under a year, and still no fine, no suspension, not even a public warning. If a male athlete did that, he'd be benched or worse. So why is Angel being treated like she's untouchable?
WNBA and accountability, 2 words that never have ever been in the same sentence. The WNBA.
And here's the irony, this all could have been avoided with a simple statement, I was misinformed. But instead, she leaned into it. She let the narrative grow. She made it about her struggle, not the truth. And now, fans want to know, is lying part of the brand now? Or does the league just not care? And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, what happened next made people question everything about how the WNBA handles its image.
It's lied. She's Jussie Smollett with a worse shooting percentage. Still no comment on Brit.
If the story was false, why did Angel Reese play the victim anyway? That's the question that lit up every comment section the moment the WNBA said it found no proof of racism. No slurs, no gestures, no audio, no video, not even a single verified witness. Yet there was Angel, sitting in front of cameras, speaking as if she had just endured something life-changing. She didn't backtrack. She didn't say, I might have been misled. Instead, she leaned in, full emotion, slow tone, tears just below the surface. I've gone through so much, she said. This could happen to anyone, except it didn't. It didn't happen. And instead of acknowledging that, she flipped the whole story into her struggle, her trauma.
Plays, guys. Watch some of these plays on Caitlin Clark. Look at this. Look at this. See that? Grab.
She talked about how the moment was tough, how her support system had helped her through it, and how God protected her. It was a speech built to pull heartstrings, but fans saw something else. A performance. And for many, it felt like emotional manipulation. Because while she stood on that podium talking about healing, real fans, the ones falsely accused, were being ripped apart online for something they never did. The league didn't question it. Not once. Instead, they applauded her bravery. Her team embraced her. League reps put out vague statements about standing with their players, but not one person asked the obvious question, why are we supporting someone who helped push a lie?
Coaches of the Chicago Sky have said that they heard things that were out of bounds coming from the fans in Indiana during the game, and that caused the WNBA to launch an investigation into the matter. Now,
and here's where it gets worse. Reese never said she heard anything racist. She just echoed what she saw online. A TikTok, a comment, that was it. And yet she used those unverified whispers to justify painting an entire fan base as hateful. Imagine being one of those fans, going to a game, cheering for your team, then waking up the next day being labeled a bigot by national media. All because a player wanted to make a moment out of nothing. And let's talk about the media. ESPN, First Take, WNBA influencers, they all gave her airtime. No pushback, no follow-up, just sympathy, applause, and "you're so strong" tweets. And this is where fans had enough. Because if Caitlin Clark had cried on camera over a false claim, she would have been shredded. But Reese, protected, praised, elevated, that's when people started digging deeper. And what they found, this wasn't the first time. Just last year, Angel claimed a white fan called her teammates slurs outside a hotel. It blew up online, until video came out proving it was completely false. Her GM even denied it. But by then, the story had already done the damage. No apology, no correction, just silence. So now, fans are connecting the dots. Is this a habit? Is controversy part of the playbook? Every time Reese steps in it, she somehow ends up the one being attacked. The pattern is clear, and people are sick of pretending it's just a coincidence. And what stings even more, while all this drama plays out, Caitlin Clark keeps her head down, takes the hits, and shows up to play. No excuses, no headline, just results. But Angel, she takes one social media rumor and turns it into a personal tragedy, and the league claps. The divide is growing, not just between fans, but within the league itself. And what happened after Reese's comments only made things worse. It wasn't just fans who were furious, big names in sports media were calling it out, loud and clear. The moment the WNBA confirmed no racism occurred at the Indiana game, the outrage turned into a full-blown media firestorm. And this time, Angel Reese wasn't being applauded, she was being exposed. Clay Travis didn't mince words. He flat-out accused Reese of enabling a race hoax and called the situation one of the worst PR disasters in league history. He said the WNBA let a lie run wild and dragged innocent fans through the mud just to protect a star. Harsh? Maybe. But wrong? Not according to the facts. Then came Dave Portnoy, and he didn't hold back either. He blasted the league and Reese for creating chaos out of thin air. His words were blunt, calling the situation embarrassing and slamming Reese's team for chasing sympathy instead of truth. In his words, wait before creating a race war. That wasn't just criticism, that was a warning. Even YouTube creators like The Quartering and others jumped in. They mocked the idea of Reese being the victim. They pointed out her missed layups and shaky performances, saying the real problem wasn't what fans said, it was what she couldn't deliver on the court. They argued that the drama was a distraction, a smokescreen. And the timing? Convenient. But the backlash wasn't just about Reese's behavior, it was about trust. Trust in the league, trust in players, trust in the media. And this incident shattered all of it. For a league already struggling with ratings and relevance, this felt like self-sabotage. Commentators accused the WNBA of chasing clicks over credibility and letting identity politics hijack common sense. And the worst part? Reese never corrected the record. She didn't step up. She didn't clarify. She didn't take responsibility. She watched the chaos unfold from the sidelines while others did the damage control for her. And fans weren't buying it. What started as one bad accusation had now turned into something bigger, a war over what the WNBA really stands for. And what happened next made even more people question whether the league could survive the backlash. When people start comparing you to Jussie Smollett, you know the trust is gone. That's exactly what happened after Angel Reese's race hoax claims fell apart. The internet lit up with one brutal nickname, Angel Smollett. And it didn't take long before that label started sticking. To many, the similarities were too obvious to ignore. A public figure makes a serious accusation. The story spreads like wildfire. Then the facts come out, and it's all built on nothing. No proof, no witnesses, just vibes. People weren't just mad, they felt duped. Like the league, the media, and even some of the players had joined in on a show they knew wasn't real. The nickname wasn't just a joke, it was a warning. Sports fans have seen this kind of stunt before. Dramatize the moment, play the victim, then disappear when the truth catches up. And Reese? She walked straight into that same playbook, twice. Once now, and another last year with a hotel story that video completely debunked. Still no apology, still no responsibility. What made it worse was the timing. Reese wasn't playing her best. She wasn't dominating the way her hype suggested. And when the headlines weren't about stats or wins, they were about controversy. For critics, it looked like she was trying to control the story, not through performance, but through outrage. Fans started asking tough questions. Was this really about injustice? Or was it about attention, image, and deflecting blame? Because dragging innocent fans through the mud just to build a narrative? That's not strength, that's selfish. And the Angel Smollett nickname hit because it exposed what some were already thinking. This wasn't about what happened, it was about how she could spin it. But just when it seemed like the damage had peaked, another twist pushed the outrage to a whole new level. This wasn't Angel Reese's first time crying wolf. Back in 2023, she made another explosive claim, this time saying a white fan shouted racial slurs at her teammates outside a hotel. It sounded serious. It went viral fast, but like clockwork, the truth didn't back it up. No footage supported the story. In fact, surveillance video told a very different version. There was no shouting, no confrontation. Just a normal night caught on camera. And then came the final blow. Her own team's general manager stepped in and shut it down. Confirmed it didn't happen. That should have ended it right there. But Reese didn't clarify. She didn't admit the mistake. She let the lie sit. Let fans argue. Let the media run with it. And once again, she played the part of the misunderstood star, while everyone else cleaned up the mess. Critics called it a tactic, build controversy, get attention, avoid consequences. And they started seeing a pattern. 2 emotional claims, 0 evidence, no accountability. The headlines always benefit her. The truth? That's just background noise. And this matters, because it's not just about one mistake, it's about credibility. If someone falsely cries foul once, it's bad. If they do it again, it becomes a question of character. People don't forget that. And in a league fighting for fans, trust, and relevance, this kind of behavior poisons everything. But just when fans thought they'd seen the worst, what happened next shipped the conversation all over again. At what point does a lie come with a price? That's the question critics are shouting louder than ever. Because after 2 false claims and 0 accountability, fans aren't just mad, they're demanding action. Not words, not sympathy, real consequences. The calls are growing by the day. People want fines, suspensions, a formal apology, at the very least. And not just from Angel Reese, but from the league itself. Because to many, this wasn't just one player's mistake. It was a complete failure of leadership. The WNBA rushed to investigate a claim that never had proof. But once that claim fell apart, they didn't hold anyone responsible. Not even a warning. Not even a private acknowledgement that damage had been done. Instead, they swept it under the rug like nothing ever happened and hoped the outrage would fade. But it didn't. If anything, it exploded. Sports insiders accused the league of playing favorites, protecting players based on popularity instead of principle. And when that happens, trust vanishes. Because what's the message here? That you can make a false accusation on national TV, stir up division, and walk away without even saying my bad? Some fans even took it a step further, threatening boycotts, calling for sponsors to step in, and warning the WNBA that silence isn't neutral, it's approval. And with the league already fighting for relevance, the last thing they can afford is to look weak, or worse, dishonest. This wasn't just about bad judgment. It became a test of whether the WNBA stands for truth and fairness, or whether it caves the moment one of its stars steps out of line. And for a growing number of fans, that test was failed. But what came next? That sent the entire situation spiraling even further. How do you fix a broken system when the people inside it think they're above the rules? That's the reality critics are pointing out about the WNBA. Because the issue isn't just Angel Reese, it's the culture that protects her. A culture some are now calling a bubble where accountability doesn't exist. Inside that bubble, stars are shielded from real consequences. They can stir up controversy, feed false narratives, and still get praised for being bold or authentic. But try to criticize them? Suddenly, you're the problem. You're toxic. You're misogynistic. Or worse, racist. It's not about right or wrong anymore. It's about who has the bigger platform. And this isn't just fan speculation. Even sports insiders are calling it out. They're saying the WNBA has built a soft shell around its stars, especially those with big social following, where criticism is treated like hate speech. But here's the truth, criticism is part of the game. Always has been. In every major league, every player gets dragged when they mess up. That's how sports stay real. That's how players grow. But in the WNBA, it's different. Say something honest about Angel Reese missing 5 layups, and you're labeled a hater. Question her drama-filled behavior? You get swarmed online. The league doesn't just tolerate this, it fuels it by staying silent. And silence, in moments like this, is permission. The problem with the bubble? It doesn't just protect players, it isolates them. From fans, from tough conversations, from the reality that the league needs to evolve if it wants to grow. The WNBA wants mainstream success, but still acts like it's untouchable. You can't have it both ways. And here's the risk. The longer the bubble stays intact, the more fans check out. Because people don't watch sports to be gaslit. They watch for grit, honesty, and raw competition. But if the league is more interested in spin than truth, then what's left for fans to believe in? And the final blow? What the league refused to say publicly told everyone exactly where it stands. When the media stops asking questions and starts picking sides, the truth gets buried. And that's exactly what critics are saying about ESPN and other mainstream outlets. Instead of fact-checking Angel Reese's claims, they repeated them, amplified them, and gave them credibility they never earned. The moment Reese spoke, ESPN ran with it like it was confirmed news. Emotional clips, tearful interviews, graphics, commentary. But not once did they say, where's the evidence? Not one analyst dared to challenge the story. And that silence wasn't an accident, it was strategy. Because controversy drives clicks. Drama keeps viewers watching. And if you have to bend the truth to get there, so be it. For ESPN, this wasn't about facts, it was about headline. A viral story with a trending name. But here's the problem, that story wasn't real. The WNBA's investigation found nothing. Zero proof of racial abuse at the Indiana Fever game. Yet ESPN never walked it back. Never held Reese accountable. They just moved on, like they hadn't spent days feeding fans a lie. Critics say this is what happens when journalism becomes cheerleading. And people noticed. Even respected sports voices called them out, saying ESPN acted more like Reese's PR team than a news source, that they helped create a firestorm that punished innocent fans and damaged the league, all without a second thought. No correction, no apology, just silence. And this wasn't the first time. The same thing happened with Reese's previous claim about hotel harassment. ESPN covered it, blew it up, then ignored the footage that proved it false. Again, no accountability. Just another moment where truth didn't matter. For many fans, that was the final straw. If the media won't do its job, then who will? If ESPN won't question the stars, won't check the facts, and won't clean up the mess, then what's left to believe? And as this storm grew louder, one final question hung in the air. Would the league finally say something? Or would they let this all slide again?